ये यूट्यूब पे आया था
मैं आपको हैंगआउट का लिंक भेज दी
मेरे पास है
ये दूसरा अभी दूसरी लाइव एडिशन कर रही हूँ I can chat
there was a need for new team which could only focus on the released code because we were having this a few challenges with our customers because of the impact areas and because we have a very configurable application. And so the role will be that they will be the focus will be on released code and not on the new
Already built code that is into
that is released to customers.
yeah, they can be into regression or something like if there is system testing.
System testing. Okay. So this will be the new responsibility. Forward. See, we don't have much of the detailed plan of it, but we will be building up a plan.
I think in project based there is always these type of challenges we always face. Like we already have something built functionalities, and whenever the client requirement changes, we have to test each and everything again and again. Like in my last project, I was facing this type of things. Like I was into project on the last phase, and there were a lot of changes of client that is. I think in every from sign in, sign up to end of it, they have already built some build up functionality, and we have to do cover these things in just 1 month, and I have to test and give take the sign off from the client, this type of thing.
How was the sign off?
Sign off is like a client give the sign off that he is okay with the project and we can uh, uh, move into life.
Getting it live.
Getting it live. Sign off is that. Sign off is like
There must be certain applications where there's not until now you don't have any customer or someone using it. So you must be testing on the applications on some dummy database or something which you create the test data.
yeah, we all created our own ourselves. Like we use our credentials. We create. Yeah.
Because
Get the live data after becoming it live. I have worked into taxi projects, which is into that. That is, we having the live data and we get the live issues, like what actual clients are facing. There were some distance-based issues, like they are covered this much of distance, and they are getting less amount or more. They get much more charge for that distance. That were the issues that you were saying.
the customer, the real time issues that you have. Uh, so how do you, because you are starting those projects from scratch, so are you doing also the ideation part of it? How do you come up those, who gives you the requirements? Is it the client who gives you, or you have to, or some team forms more clear
No,
requirements?
it's client requirements only, because that is the main project based thing. Product based, what happens that is you have to build from your requirements. Then you are going to some client. But in project based, we have to work on client requirements, because at the end we have the but what is the main process? We have the MSA signed from client that this is a MSA. We are going to the requirements. Then we create user stories based on that MSA. Then we have the approval over that we are not going to change anything beyond this MSA. If we are going to change, that is into addendum part. That is signed separately, because
Process of change of request, like
change request, whatever be that is can be entertained into this phase, or that is entertained into next phase. That depends on the priorities.
So how do you say this is agile, because you are getting all the requirements finalized early on?
Agile is something like we are we are not saying that we are not entertaining changes. I'm saying changes on the basis of priorities.
Okay. So if there is a priority change which has come from client, how do you handle that?
That is, we just whenever we just, but I'm saying that we are finalize the MSA. we can entertain the changes from the client, but depend upon the functionality he is going to change.
So
If
it's about the cost. Is it about the cost that
Yeah.
okay, the cost will be
Yeah.
additional for those changes?
Yeah,
Or something?
if it is just a change request into the previous functionality, that can be entertained, depend upon the impact of that functionality. If it is some other change, that additional functionality he is going to add, then there is extra cost for that.
Can we continue with the introduction?
Sure.
I'm Rupali. Earlier I was working with the project-based companies, and I understand the things you are saying right now here. And from the last 4.5 years, I am working in Catalyst One.
Hi, my name is Archana and I'm going to complete 4 years in August month over here, and this is my first job. And right now, recently, in August I will be moving into automation, so I'll be preparing with a framework for our application. That's it.
Yeah, I'm Roman. I have around 3+ years of experience in different fields. Like I have worked.
What's the right person?
I have worked as a software developer in one company for around 13 to 14 months, and then I worked with Tech Mahindra for around a year as a test engineer, and then again I have worked with one of the organization which was like building 2 websites that you mentioned. Like it was a 2 website that I also did some of the requirements from build the things from scratch. It was a trucking organization. Like they were doing the same thing, like how to track the trucks from one location.
The trucking base, that is only into tracking and
Yes. So I was also doing the requirement and research on that.
all. So what sort of what is actually into this product is? I was just curious to ask.
Yes. Maybe Divya, you can explain. She's Divya.
Hi, I'll just introduce myself. I'm working for QEngineer from past 4 years. And we are basically working with the HCM, Human Capital Management, or you can say HRIS, Human Resource Management Systems. We have one product with multiple modules, and all are interlinked to each other. If I just explain you on the high level details, we work with the fine processes for salary reviews, finance processes for many other things.
Yeah, they're all HR related.
That is into payroll system and all.
Yeah, I mean it's not exactly the payroll. We are feeding data for payrolls. You can say. So it's about one part of it is the information management system. So everything related to employees is recording to our application. All of that import export with the third parties working with us. Then other parts are all the HR related processes like your performance management, your onboarding,
And everything that is into it.
Yes. So all of that.
Main is just we are bringing transparency in every process. Every process we develop. We use.
So it's very customizable application. So we have all the setting based system. So you can enable and disable based on your requirement. All of that. So there are many ways.
Like you can say that it's CRM or
It's just software as a service.
assets.
Okay, so we are Misha, you have remained for introducing yourself. We are introducing each other.
So myself, Misha Mahajan. I have been working with Catalyst One.
I think everyone is here. I'm just out of this.
I think it's a good base. It doesn't matter, whether you're from outside. It's a base.
I have left my company due to some personal reasons. That is, having time issues and all, because I have to spend much more time with there. I can't able to give to family. Like I'm leaving office at 11 p.m. That is too much. So they are having some sort of these type of issues.
The project-based companies at times get into pressure.
Depend upon the situation, because they are into this. Like they have the culture like this that you have to stay for long.
I understand. I have been to project-based companies as well.
Yes, and I've been working with Catalyst One from last 2 and 4 months, 2 years and 4 months. And I'm really happy to be the part of this organization.
I'm Surbhi. I'm the director for product development, and very excited to have this meetup here. Wanted to make it as a community for QA to share in experience.
Yeah, that I just got that some meetup and I just go and join that because I was in at my husband maybe in Abhinav Goyal. There is into a child.
Okay, okay, you're his wife.
Yeah.
I know. We've been meeting in Trenters.
Yeah, I told me yesterday that you can refer me in front of Surbi.
That's fine. Good. Okay, good. That's very nice to have you here, and here we can learn from the project-based company's experience as well. So let's start today. I'm just sharing it for the live streaming as well, since everyone else also is joining us. So yes, the topic was about relevant test data generation. And it's just my idea that I started with. I had a workshop in Agile India about ideation, about how since you know about from the scratch projects. So every product, when you seed it, you have some problem area to resolve, right? So that's where it started. So yes, so the idea was when you start with any product, you start with ideating what is the problem area that you are going to resolve. So how does it start is that you start making out those personas or those target audience, group of target audience that you're targeting for their problems to be resolved, right? So looking at that, you need to create some personas. Persona is a way that you, and as we say in the testing language, users, right? We say users. So persona is giving life to that user, right? So what we do is that if I go by the definition of persona, it says, yeah. So personas are the research-based archetypes, representation of who users are, what they are trying to accomplish, what goals drive behavior, how they think, how they perform action, and why they make decisions in that to take decision. So, matlab, it's about whatever your when you give a life to a shape to a person, make it a person instead of a simple user. When you tie a name to that person, a gender, maybe a position, right? For example, let's take an example of shopping cart, right? So if it is a shopping cart for or e-commerce website for some fashion clothes, what could be the personas in those cases? Who would be the users?
Buyers, the buyer.
Buyers. Which kind of buyers? Who will be buying?
Buyer,
Male buyers and the male
kids.
or the kids.
Okay, into male and female, like categories are like fashion because these are fashion clothes. So what kind of males and females would it be? Like it could be college going girls, right?
College going, married.
Location based. It could be again, because it's an online thing. Not all the females who are going or for now it is like that. But if you look at the village foods and all of that, those will not be shopping from that, right? So what kind of target audience to come closer to the target audience of yours? You make these personas, right? So now when we talk about busy working woman, right? A busy working woman who doesn't have time to go to market. So that is very specific requirement of. So what would she be looking for? How would she be shopping? Right? What kind of things will be important for that person in the shopping cart? So that is how personas help you with ideating the core problem area of a particular section of the community.
You can say that to relate with the real-time things, that how it's going to be work, and real-time scenarios we can think about more.
Majorly, I think that fashion shop that is e-commerce into target audience. That what will be the targeted audience and what will be their
age
taste.
group? What would be the age group? What would be the taste of the age group?
Because
So how do they get those data? How does the data come? What are the ways that data can be achieved?
Can be on the research part.
Research in what sense?
In the that the different sites, like the e-commerce sites, the different sites we can go and see that what kind of the people are doing the research. These kind of
Those are offerings, right? But what is the purchaser buyer buying? How do you know that?
He gives his data himself. Like location is sometimes detected by the app itself, but he gives his user data by himself, that he is his gender, and then his address and his interest area if he wants to buy.
In that case,
How will he get to know that based on the gender and that is because he can buy for someone else. Like if I am buying, I can buy for my mother, my husband, my kid. And when you can't judge by giving that data on
how do you
that.
think that this data would be collected? Majorly, if I help you with this, it's collected from the analytics, Google Analytics, right?
that is the thing I was
I
saying.
think
That
so.
is-
Yeah, if they have some shopping cart that they have items that is doing also predictive analysis, like thing that what we are having, like we are searching into Flipkart, then we get some recommendations based on that thing on our email, and
So that's how do you get that is that you have recently searched on some categories or
something like I have searched like some t-shirts, what type of t-shirts I have searched, then I get recommendations based on that. I think that is the data they have collected from.
So on the back end, all this data is kind of they analyze this data. They look at okay, what kind of person, because when you are signing up and when you're looking for the requirements, then somehow they make out what kind of category you are lying in, right? So maybe location based it can be. It depends upon the data, the type of data it is.
Actual thing, what recommendations that come up after searching something, they recommend you.
Those are categories, right? As you said, that you can search on specific categories, then you come up with that data, right? That is one thing that they show. Okay, what my customer wants, I can show more of that, right? That is one thing. But how can he ensure, or the buyer or the seller ensure that he put relevant stuff into it, right? So, both data that is coming from the data analytics, and even for the tester, if I look at, right? So, let's talk about an app, mobile app, right? How do a person would come to know about whether this app is user friendly or not?
by using it.
But that will be according to their understanding, right? How will they come to know about a user friendliness of an app from the customer perspective? How does that happen?
How easy it is to be
Easy
used.
it is going to use, like we are if
You
we
can
are
put your own perspective, as I said, right? But still, there are some apps which talks about touch points. Okay, that where all in this page a user has touched to make some action happen. Because some colors or buttons trigger you to do something, right? Or you seek out something that which you are not able to seek. So that is some apps which gives the analytics of where all in this page person has touched to perform any action. So that helps you to understand how easy is it to. So these are some examples. I was just giving you an understanding of how could we come up to the personas, right? Okay. What and why? What is the test data?
test data is something we are going to enter for testing purpose, like we are what for login purpose, but we are going to enter that invalid or valid data.
And why do, yeah?
Test data is basically to check the what we are trying to achieve from the requirements, or what is the requirement to fulfill that. We need to enter the real cases things into that, so that we can come as much as closer to the customer.
That's the purpose that is UMS.
And plus, test data is like the thing which like we feed in something to see the actual results.
Yes. So it's about kind of inputs that we give to the software, right? And the purpose, again, as you mentioned, the positive testing typically to verify that the given set of inputs give function produced as expected results, and negative testing the ability to of the program to handle unusual, extreme, exceptional, and unexpected cases. And if it is a poorly designed data, testing data, it can happen that you hamper the quality of software, right? Okay, test data generation. Why is it needed to be done before test execution? Why do we need test data before test execution? Do we need it?
I think test data is the very first step to start with the test. Start with test. We prepare the test data according to the requirements. If you're not preparing it, then how will you test it?
I think it's about the same thing as I said. The wrong test data, poorly designed test data can help with the quality in itself, isn't it?
Like we are going to test something, like we are going to test some functionality, and whenever we enter data, random data, and if that system crashes, then we can get to know that at this point the system will fail. So that's why test data is necessary.
Okay, so as it said, test data needs to be relevant to customer persona who are going to use the application in the end. So you would be knowing type of users that you have based on which you are going to create the inputs. Help identify the suitable test data for your test cases. It will help also that you have the relevant data relying on your test cases as well. Okay, you have been so much experience with the testing. I want to know what are the different ways of generating test data?
Depending upon what all users will be there, who will be using them.
All, but roles are required.
Personas.
How will you get into the database?
Like
How will you get the data into the database?
I think that is more much dependent upon the type of applications we are going to use. Like what sort of application? Like I have into project based, then but these basically the applications is like that is tutoring app. Then their data test data will be of teachers or students. That depend upon the type of application we are using. Like we are using into trucking app, then there will be a customers and truckers or some intermediate.
So I mean that is the type of data that you're going to enter. But how will you? What are the ways to populate test data into database?
And one thing is that you do it manually.
This thing, right? Manually. Any other way?
Because some people are, I think, using the Excel sheets to generate the data.
Importing
And
importing thing.
Yes.
and other is that some people are doing the direct entering into the database using the SQL queries for preparing the large number of data.
Where you came from.
Some scripting like we can use by automating like
And also there are many add-ons, like you have bug magnet and all.
Bug magnet, as you
They
said.
already generated images.
Or some part of data.
there are
you
many
get
ways
in that.
like we can import Excel sheets by through
I think you are almost or everything we have covered here. I think there's one way which is called masking data masking, and mask copying test data, and then so manually, as it says, mask copying of the data from production to the testing environment, and then a second step of that is anonymizing it. Like in our case, like we can't use the live data of customers. One way is that we copy all the data and anonymize it.
we can copy from test to live. Like
Live to test. Live to test, right?
own okay.
So we copied the live to test and then anonymize it so that the identities are not so. So if there's any issue with the security concerns or personal identity revealing part, you get rid of that. So that is one way. But depending upon the security, levels of that application. Like in our case, the GDPR European laws apply, so we can't do that. So mass copying for test data from legacy client systems. So old client systems, they have the old data in their system, so which are no more relevant, can be one way of getting that data. And automation, as you said. So ultimately, I think we all agreed that first of all we need to have the data set in place to get input, right? We had the legacy system, then only we could import it because we felt that this will be a relevant data. And again, because live to testing, it again is the most relevant data you could have, but this is not always the case that we get it. Again, on the case of manual and automation, you will have to have the test data in place before you make some process to make it automated through scripts or any automation framework. Fine. So we need to work on first of all the data set itself. That we need to get the data sets correct. So I think the purpose of making a relevant data set is, but in my mind is that one size doesn't fit all. So one data which is relevant for one persona won't be relevant for other. Can be. So identifying all kinds of testing, all kind of testing is required where. So I think it's about which type of testing is required where. Based on that, you can also identify the test data. What kind of test data you require? For example, if there's a need of performance testing, so in that case, what kind of data we will require? We will be requiring more data in that case, right? More number of users, and number of records also on the referring to the users will be more, right? So as it says, performance. If there's a need of performance testing or security testing, you'll be going for confidentiality, integrity, authentication, authorization, right? If it is black box testing, then it's no data, valid data, invalid data, illegal data formats, boundary creation, boundary conditions data set, equivalence partitioning, decision table data set, state transition data set, and then use case test data, right? So yes, what would make a test data a relevant test data? If we are able to define the needs of testing, right? What kind of testing would be required? Then it will be more relevant, right? Test data based on customer usage, how the customer is using application. Based on that, we can put some data, and then very close to real and live data. So if we are able to achieve very close to real time situations of the customer, then it will be more relevant data. How do I obtain this data? So we have talked about it, that we can. One way is that we use the data analysis, right? Other ways are like if we look at here, by observing in their live environment. So it's about being present when they are using the application. This is a way the UX people work, that they design something and then nowadays the agile format is that they go to those organizations which are using a software. They observe them, that how they are using, what kind of problems they are facing. So they do customer interviews as well, that what kind of problems that they face. People who knows the best the customer. So जो customer को ज़्यादा अच्छे से जानते हैं, those people. So like our consultants are there, so we can interview them. What kind of problems people face in the specific, because you need to be very specific on what specifically you are targeting for testing as well. What specifically you're targeting for, this part of.
I think how they are using it.
So when you're asking question, you'll be very specific to what exactly you are talking about, right? Like you remember we had that session with CV, competency management, and at that point they told us even a smaller thing, how does it impact, which is small for us, but the customer has a lot of focus on that. So, and some things which we can't think of until we get into their shoes. So we need to have that customer interaction. So data analytics is one way, as it said, different tools to look at touch points and pain points, right? Where are the application being touched and what are the pain points? For example, sometimes happens that when you're performing some action or operation, you perform some set of actions and then you stop. So what would be the pain points of the user in that situation? That's something that data analytics people try to analyze. Okay, why a person had stopped here. There was a process to check out, for example. Why a person didn't check out completely. So what are the, so you remember, you know the feature of wish lists, right? How did that come into picture? That way itself, that people sometimes feel like, okay, I want to buy this and that and that. It might be pricing, it might be something else that stops them from checking it out. So put it into a wish list. What will it help is that they will be knowing about the interests of the customer, and they can notify them that, okay, now the prices are dropping down and all of that. So all of those to help customer check out, right? So all of those are coming from that feature. I mean, that understanding that, okay, why this didn't reach the conclusion. So this is one way of analyzing the data. There are tools which are helping you with that. Let's talk about personas. I've already given you some idea about customer interaction and customer. So based on your major customer, scope of your customers, you will be able to develop some personas for yourself. Like in the case of product, at least, for project is there because they are short-lived. I am not sure how you would be able to interact with your customers.
I don't think we interact with customers. That is the client requirements.
In your case, I think it's more majorly you can expect data or some kind of outcome from the data itself as well. If you are expecting personas, you would be expecting someone to come up with personas for you, right? Even in our case, it is the same because we are not directly dealing with clients. We don't have customers directly dealing with customers, but there is a middle layer who are dealing with customers. So they developed personas for us. So we'll work on that shortly.
So some project-based companies, the QS are directly working with the clients, like the requirements. If
I have already worked with the client. I was saying that I'm going to client communication part also. So what is his requirements? How he wants to handle
Is it
that?
something that he uses by himself, or he's getting it made for someone else?
He is like they are using for them, but the targeted audience is obviously their.
It is majorly the target audience which is the clients, right? So it's not the person who is getting the requirements for us. He might be a product owner for you, but the target audience is the one around whom why we are creating a product is to create value for someone.
That is a project for us, a product for our client.
Even if it is like for you, it is a project, but then understanding the customer is exactly who's going to use it. That will only be able. That's how you'll be able to add more value. But in one of the meetups, I met one guy. He was also working project-based company. He was having his own project-based company. So so I put the case as we have that, okay, we got the requirement, we got the mockups, we have to build, right? How do we add creativity into it? That was my question. That we get all the requirements, we get the mockups. How do we add creativity into it? How do we ensure that, okay? So because he was talking experience, he said that I don't go by the designs proposed. I go by the users who are going to use it, and then I think of how this user is going to use this feature, and then I propose the designs, and then I look at, okay, what kind of features I can utilize, right? So that's how you can ideate, that's how you can add more value, and you can show more value to your client, right? Okay, you have asked for this thing, but if you do this way, it will be adding more value to your customer. So that's why personas are important. Understanding of getting more closer to your customer. So, as I was talking in the previous slide about customer interviews, customer interactions, why was that important? Was to get more closer to their experience by using the application, right? So, we are lucky that we got some personas for our application. You have forwarded it to you. Yes. So I can forward it to because I got it from Janika, and this can be useful for everyone after this session, I think I'm going to do that. So personas, as I said, it is a research-based research. Research means some kind of analytics you have done, some kind of observation you have done, right? So out of that kind of observations, you have come up to some conclusion of, okay, this type of users are there, or common patterns of the users that you find in the application, right? That's how you create a real person. I can show you one example of it. Just a minute. It is open on my screen. It was a very good example of a persona. I think many of us will be able to relate it. Have you worked with any of the HR application until now? No. So maybe being an employee, you can understand it, right?
Yeah.
Alright. This is only a template I'm going to show you. So, we are going to fill it. That's how we are going to fill it. Name, job title, where this person works, details about this person, her role, age, gender, salary, location, family, goals and challenges, values and fears, marketing message, and speech. Fine. This is the kind of template. Just a minute. I'll share those links which I have so that you can also read through them. That's how it is. Racial, small business owner, social media marketing, key decision maker, age 32 to 39, similar, income है, urban location, master's degree, time online, quite interesting content to share, my social media resources, how we can help, schedule posts to QA, queue, and content decisions. Her fears and values, and all of this information would be important for you to innovate, and also when you start thinking about test data, you somehow for any point of time you would be able to utilize some kind of information out of it. So this is about all that person in itself, and then when you are starting to build data, you'll be looking at how this data would be helping you. So this was an example. There was another example which I'm not sure why it's not showing. I can see. Yeah. This one example which talks about appraisal in a way. It says person is Amanda. Her role, education, B2B, reports to work, male architect, her responsibilities, how she evaluated. Would it help us somehow? How she evaluated means what all data would be required for her appraisal. Information resource I trust. And what kind of information resources that she uses for dealing, like she trusts all those resources. So for some e-commerce website it would be helpful, such kind of information.
I think persona basically depends upon application to application.
It will not be all for one for all. As I said, one size can't fit all. For each of your product or project, you'll have different set of personas, right? Okay, so now you've got some examples of personas. Right? How can we create personas? We just had a word about that: data analytics, customer interaction, observation of customer experiences, and role play. So we are going to do the role play shortly. And these are the questions that you have to ask. I mean, you can keep in mind these questions. I think we can take a short break in between, and meanwhile I'll get the printouts of the stuff that you need here for this session. Fine, and we can meet in 5 minutes or so. Thank you. आप ऑफिस में हो? आपका लैपटॉप कनेक्ट है प्रिंटर्स के साथ? मैं आपको ना मैं वो भेज रही हूँ, उसकी ना 2 कॉपीज 2 कॉपीज निकलवा देना। हाँ, नीचे भिजवा दो भी, ठीक है ना? मैं 2-1 ईमेल्स आएंगी मेरी, तो देख लेना।
I think product based में ज़्यादा challenges होते हैं, like because in project based we don't face much more challenges, like how to get customers under that. Like we are going to build for client, and the customer data is basically challenge for client only.
Okay, depends, how or the personal perspective itself. How much your client listens to you, or how much you makes your client listen to you. It would be definitely a win-win situation if you help your customer understand what they require. That's what is our way of doing it. We don't only sell; we help customer. We what we do is that we collaborate with them. We collaborate with them, make them successful into what they are doing.
Yeah, same here. Like, but client comes with is a basic idea, like what he wants. After that, we dwell and make the client understand that this will help him in his product thing.
Yeah.
I think this will help a lot.
Yes, please. I don't know how much I can contribute. I can just because it was my idea that how can I utilize this knowledge which I've got. So because I was trying to fit it in every phase of development. How do I ideate? How do I ideate? Where should I ideate in our code? Analytics is very relevant for QA.
I think the personas we were talking about, we can utilize them, even we can create them and just put them in components.
Now you will be doing interviews in that role play. So let's see how it goes.
Can we extend the break to 5 more minutes?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Yesterday it was so busy I couldn't find time to prepare for this. I had to prepare in the morning today.
I was waiting for some session type of thing for QA because whatever the meetups happen in Chandigarh that is into Agile and all at Trenter and all. I was thinking of joining that also but फिर मैंने सोचा कि यार अब शुरू हो गया है, क्या करना है जाके like जब start हुआ था then I was having Saturdays working in my company.
Well, I mean, it's so interesting that they have even Saturdays working and all the day it's like 11 o'clock we are leaving.
It is too hectic at home. I know.
I have been earlier 9 years back. I was in Envish.
Okay.
You know Envish? Yeah, it's a project-based company again, and the similar environment was.
I think that is basically उनको ना एक काम करने की आदत है कि like उनका काम ही शाम को start होता है like we are working एक हो जाता है कि मतलब कहीं ना कहीं वो affect करना शुरू कर देता है like if you are going late then you are coming late
In the morning, obviously.
how will you start at
For us, like, the situation was at times you spend 3 days regularly in the office.
कब एक होना कि हाँ काम करना है तो that is कभी कभार चलता है that's a habit. So
You have been to agile testing certification as well. Hello, हाँ जी हरप्रीत, वो समझ में आ गया? Slide number 12 and 3 करना है. 3, 13 sorry, 13. 12 and 13. हाँ 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 हाँ, वो सारा ही प्रिंट करना है. बस लास्ट मतलब लास्ट वाली नहीं करनी, कैटलेस वाली नहीं करनी. You're getting the printout soon?
yeah, पूछ रहे थे ना
हाँ, मैं पूछ रही थी agile testing का. What was that about? The testing
आपने
certification.
मेरे resume
Your profile in LinkedIn. Was it LinkedIn? Yeah.
yeah that is into agile. Basically the certification is about agile terminologies, how testing should be done in agile environment, like how testing should be done in Scrum and can what is Scrum and can basically certification tells you about what exactly that thing is. Like I have done ISTQB foundation levels. So it tells about basic terminologies of testing that what an ideal company should do. Like testing depends upon the company environment, how the company works. But basically, certification tells you about the
Ideal practices that
you have to do.
Yeah.
That is that tells about the processes of testing, terminologies. It gives you clear idea about what actually the testing is. And in agile, what I learned that how testing should be done in an agile environment. First, they give you an idea about what an agile environment is, how the working in agile environment happens. Then how the testing should be done in that. That is pair programming, test driven development, and all this exploratory testing. Then CI/CD.
So have you been doing the test in the
Not exactly. They are doing. I'm saying I have already told you ना हर company का अपना अपना
I'm just trying to know कि कुछ experiences हैं. If you have some of experience that you can share with us about.
Yeah, I will share. But I am into process. Like actually, yeah, they have implemented so many processes like हर चीज.
मैंने सारी print की.
ठीक है, हमारी साइज
पूरी नहीं है. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 12, 13 बस पूरी आगे वाली सारी प्रिंट है.
एक मिनट यार, मुझे सिर्फ 12 13
12, 13 ये इसकी नीचे जो है 12 और नीचे वाली
12 13 ठीक है. मुझे बाकी वाले कर देते हैं,
बाकी मैंने कर दिए थे.
है ना. ये ठीक है, ये ठीक है, दिस इज गुड. बट वो जो मैंने पहली स्लाइड भेजी थी वो मुझे पर्सोना वाली,
आपने जो
एक और
दो
पर्सोना की भी भेजे ना.
हाँ उसमें से आपको उसमें सिर्फ एक ही था.
नहीं
12, 13
नहीं यार, ये वाली तो जो थी ये तो ये वाली स्लाइड थी, है ना. मैं प्रिंट के लिए
हाँ इसी के लिए
पर्सोनास की भी भेजी मैंने तुम्हें.
हाँ, एक भेजी आपने और
वो वाली पूरी निकालनी है.
पूरी निकालनी है. 13 पेजेस हैं.
इसको अगर तुम टेक्स्ट फॉर्मेट में किसी उसमें, हाँ इसको पूरी निकालनी है.
ठीक है. ये 13 12 तक है ना इसकी.
ठीक है,
पूरी 12.
आई वांट टू नो कि आप कैसे काम करते हो. फिर होता है ना कि एक रिलेशन को रिलेट कर पाऊँ कि लाइक हाउ कंपनी यू वर्क एंड हाउ आई हैव बीन वर्किंग. सो तो एक क्लियर डिफरेंस आ जाएगा मेरे माइंड में कि एग्जैक्टली बिकॉज अभी मैं जो भी बताऊंगी मे बी यू आर वर्किंग इनटू दैट और मे बी.
It's a good discussion. I think the QAs would be helping you that better, है ना. कि अगर तुम सब मिलके बात करोगे then it's better because I'll not be able to help you much on that end.
एक्चुअली मैंने जो देखा है आई एम टू देखो मैनेजमेंट एक्चुअली क्या है कि मतलब मैंने प्रोजेक्ट कोऑर्डिनेशन भी स्टार्ट किया तो मतलब एक आइडिया होगा कि एग्जैक्टली स्टार्टिंग से लेके एंड प्रोसेस क्या है. बेसिकली मुझे प्रोसेसेस का ज्यादा क्लियरेंस हुआ कि व्हाट शुड बी द प्रोसेसेस फॉर आवर डेवलपमेंट लाइफ साइकिल्स. क्योंकि विदाउट प्रोसेसेस आई थिंक प्रोजेक्ट की डिलीवरी हैम्पर करती है कहीं ना कहीं.
Okay, so I got some printouts till now. I think they are on the way. So this is one of the case studies from our own application. It's about, so the system is about storing all the employees' data for any organization which is using this software. The feature is built to perform any kind of research, any kind of search on employees' data, right? So this report can be saved, search can be modified, and filter can be updated as well. So the resulting report can be sorted in all types of fields. So now situation is that we have added a new feature that is called length of service, which is automatically calculated based on the date of hiring, right? So now I'll be sharing with you all those personas that we have. First of all, what we need to do is to identify which all personas are relevant for this case, right? So the point is length of service. Let's create all the test cases around the usage of each personas, fine? So we look at what personas fits in. Now we have to see this length of service field, how one persona will be using that field, fine? And what kind of usage, in what all situations this person will be using it. So there are few questions to it which you will be asking to while you interviewing. You can read through and you can ask question in those in those directions, right? So like it says, what are they trying to accomplish? What goals drive their behavior? What will be the goal of generating report or storing the data? Why would they be looking for storing that, looking at length of service? Why would we require that length of service of any employee, right? So, and why would you like to search for length of service? Why would you like to see the results in the results length of service, right? So such kind of cases you have to identify that okay, length of service, how can you as a in that persona, how will you be utilizing that, right? How they think. So ultimately, when you are talking, you'll be thinking around it. So you'll be knowing how they perform action, how would what all purposes. So you need to not to tell all the solutions to it, but you need to tell, you need to try to make the person trigger. How will that person in that role be using that field, right?
And to help her, I think we can define her the different roles right now.
Yes, when I'm going to come up with those persona sheets, you'll be knowing what all rules will, right? So you can go through all the personas, understand, and you can discuss first of all, right? And then how we will be going that one person will be interviewing another, and rest of them will be observing and noting down their points. And then another person will be interviewed by someone else, and others will be noting down points. So everyone will get the chance to be a persona, right? And others will be interviewing and noting down the points, right? Thank you. So maybe what you do, you can come closer somewhere, Hannah. It would be better if you can join in here on this table. So these are the personas. Can you please come in here and this side itself? And this one as well. First of all, take some time. I'm just looking at the time now. It's 44. So maybe 15 minutes, just spend time on understanding these personas. Fine? Ask questions from each other. Be as open as you can. Try to understand what does this persona mean. So for you, Rupali, this is an HR application. So there are different users of it. So these all are the users of it, right? So we need to understand what kind of usage they would be having. So just think of it as a HR system where we are storing this information, and there's a search where you can search all that information. Just a small system you can think of that way. Start with one persona. Just start discussing one persona.
We start with manager.
So these two are manager suite. Yeah. So maybe what you do, go through it, and then one by one explain what you understand by it. So how would you see what kind of utilization or what kind of role do you feel this person is doing, just to understand it better. I've got only one copy. I'll ask you for two. What have you understood about this? Start with.
I think there are the two categories for the manager. We need to, target. One is the blue collar people, and the other one is the white collar people. And the things the manager need to do is the vary. And for one people, they are more concentrating on the certifications and the competency and the training part. For the white collar jobs, they are more to the KPIs, the performance things, and then the delivers and the goals of the alignment with the organization goals and that stuff. And I just want a clear overview of the employees, whether they work in the same location or same country or in different locations. Just want a clear overview or a clear picture of the employees.
Anything more?
And again, he wants a good overview of their employees related to their competencies, task and absences, and their CV data, and feedback and status review.
For that, the manager, I think it is important that he knows about his employees and how this employee.
And that they she only use 25% of her time on being a manager.
So that means there's some part of it which is she's being an employee, or maybe some other.
And because of which.
So when she is 25% involved into her time for manager, that means this small time she wants to get into thing in place, a one-time overview that she can look into and easily fetch out all this information that is required, right?
And for that, she wants a system. She wants a system so that she can easily view the data of all the employees.
And it is talking about interior system. Interior means that is not. It could be the case that she is not too
much technical.
Yes. So it should be very easy to use.
Self-explanatory. That's important.
On the other sheet, what is it? Because it's also manager.
Again,
Coming
coming
white collar. And it talked about a matrix organization also. What does it mean?
Hardly interact with their.
उसमें वो केस होता है जहाँ पर मैनेजर रिपोर्टिंग मैनेजर someone else, but the person is working with different projects at the same time. With some different teams and different teams. That must be your case.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah,
right. So reporting.
I can relate to that case that my reporting manager was someone else, and I was working with different managers. In fact, we were doing the same previously when Monica was our manager and we were in different teams.
So in that case, what would be the pain of that manager? Just think of that he wants to know about his employees. He has goals attached to different projects. How would he be tracking?
Yes. How will be knowing the performance of that employee?
Yeah. So can you understand the pain of this person? So what kind of information? Now we are talking about information systems, and we were saying that this person is actually having employees, set of employees, and he has some information stored for it, right? And you need to see what kind of information this person would be looking for, right? What is the purpose of this person having that HRS system? What kind of information would this person be fetching? Right? So those are things you have to take in mind. Let's talk about the next role, next persona. So just you don't have to turn your neck like that. You can use one set and then you can go by next. So what are we choosing next? Is it white collar?
Blue collar.
Blue collar. Okay.
First,
type of blue collar companies?
Blue collar companies are those which are like, oil and shipping companies, right? People are working on factories, not using computers, right? The people who are intellects like law and all of that, those are the white collar companies, right? Where people are getting
Mostly
sitting work. Most of the
sitting
entry jobs are the white collar.
Yeah,
Or somewhat that is training company.
They don't have access to.
Computer, like they don't have email. Companies email.
Companies email means they don't have their own, like we have. We have companies email IDs created for us, right? Corporate email IDs. So they don't have that as well.
Like construction companies, like their employees.
Yeah,
they don't
civil
have-
engineers, you can say. Civil engineers would be kind of blue collar workers, I guess. I don't know.
They are white collar.
White collar. Maybe the people who are
people who are
under
working under it.
people
Yeah,
who
we can
are
take the example of the
office
boys over
here and all of that.
Yeah.
Like in
Skilled
some,
workers that we say, skilled workers are the
like they're into more into laborious parts, like
high level. You can say supervisor would be also in the category of that as well, right? So all those which are manually doing jobs like using their hands and things like that. Right? So now if you look at this, now let's look at the HRI system and look at this blue collar worker. What kind of usage this person would be doing for this HRI system? Would there be any usage?
minimal. I would say minimum, like they are like employees and data what the employee is working on. Not more than that, I think.
For them, it might be the supervisors might be having excess of, but then again, it's a manager's
Might be
role.
again, just a personal account
Not
with the information, not more than that.
I think they don't have even the computers with them.
We have to
They
give them the papers. We have to give them the exported
They're more likely to use mobile,
sheets
they can
for
use
mobile.
mobile.
They just are employed data.
Yeah. They will be filling their own data itself. I think that much is
Not
clear.
more
using
more
it.
than that.
And they will be filling their own data on paper, on sheets maybe.
Or
They
maybe
will be using
mobile than
They can use the mobile app.
You can see that there is attendance system or that, not more than that.
So
like
we are only currently working on that. We have very small system which is HLI's data and a search report. Fine, nothing more than that in this video. This HLI system which you are working on now.
For these roles, I think we need to prepare that the mobile app or something for the same thing.
User profile we have those responsiveness.
So that's what I'm saying. Here for this section, we have to improve on that.
Yes.
That the things we are using that should be more
And I
responsive.
think that's about the strategy of the company again. Like earlier, we had a strategy of attracting HRs of the organization. So we were building the system according to that vision that okay, we have to attract HR, so system should be easy to use for HRs, right? But now the vision has changed and we are targeting the employees, right? Now in the employees case, the application has a vision of mobile first,
yeah.
right? That it should be
for
mobile first.
blue collar employees, we don't have a system
Yes.
based with.
But nowadays, smartphone is everyone's.
Yeah,
right?
we can build an application for them that they can install the application on their phone, smartphone.
And again, another part which is saying
I
is about communication through SMS as well.
And second thing is the security. We have to
Yes.
we have implemented
They
for
can
the
have their login for that. Login credential created by their HR, and they can
that's how it
log in
works,
into
right?
so that they can mark their attendance on that or their leaves.
Until now, we don't have that system into whatever sorts of software you are working on now, right? Don't think of those areas because I've just, as I mentioned, it's only data recording and searching on that. There's only two features in your application now, which you are
Data recording.
only data recording and searching on data.
Basically, their personal profiles, and
we can
based on
search.
that, we can have reports. Like
Yes.
what all data is there in their profile.
Yeah.
And
So would the report make sense here in this case? Would this blue collar worker be willing to have any reports?
At least they can have their how many days working.
They can
Again, that's not recorded.
Hey,
ये हो सकता है like
इसमें अभी
they
सिर्फ
can-
ना HR का डेटा है आपका आप
नहीं, they can have their they have that NS system on their company
I think what
system.
she is trying to say that
Attach
if
it.
there is the field for the absence, that how many days he is absent for that, then he can reproduce that the report. We are saying that based
Yeah,
on
they
that.
can get the data from HR system like on their device, like about how many days they work in a month.
But into this system we don't have it, no?
Might be
It might be an
reports
additional feature that we have.
may be useful in saying there must be some job roles they are assigned. Looking at the job roles, we can identify which all employees are under this job role and at what job location. Yeah, might be he want to coordinate with someone. Like we are in the QAs, and if the QA is in the Norway, then I am not aware of that. And then looking into that
Categorization for particular job
Jobs and
roles and job
responsibilities.
locations.
We
Maybe
can
in
look
that
into
case,
that.
the reports may be helpful.
maybe helpful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is at least in their profile they will be having their job role and their job location
Job
and
role.
what they are working.
And there can be a case like sometimes people work with shifts, like they might be knowing, they want to know which shift they'll be working next week or next week.
If it is a data storage.
Storage.
Yes.
That's
Again,
what
yeah.
depend upon the story
Storing,
part.
yeah. What kind of data is it stored?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. So now we know at least that what kind of data we want, how this person will utilize it.
Yes.
Right. Let's move on to the white color. What's down? Streaming is working fine. Again, that case that we have mentioned that about employees' access to reports. It would be again organization to organization dependent whether they want such kind of queries to be entertained from the employees or not, right? So they will be strategizing on permissions of the HR reports, right?
We have that we can see the minimal data for the each employees, but we can't see the sensitive data over there.
That will be anyways access based that whether you have an access of or not. But still for the access to the report also it will be organization.
Yes.
Again, it's like in white collar again, it's saying the same thing. Like if the system, like it should be easy to use. Like,
Responsive as well,
Responsive as well.
for mobile first, because
Yes.
employees will always be looking for
Yes.
those are the solutions,
Might
right?
be
And
going
at the
with
same time-
training that might be less or may go for months.
Yeah, and the interaction with the manager varies a lot. Like works in a matrix organization, and you might hardly interact with the manager, reporting manager, but interact with the manager of the project.
And the other thing is that he might be using it on the yearly basis, quarterly basis, or on the monthly basis. Also.
Before
He's
the
preparing
status
for the
review
appraisal,
is
status
created.
review or something.
So
That
updating
depends
at
upon the
times when
organization.
because
When
for
required.
once you are joining in the organization, then you
Yes.
feel the data.
Yeah.
After some time, then you feel like looking at maybe it's updated or not,
Yes,
just
yes.
to verify
Yes.
something.
It might
And
be
Like we
there
have some system like that is updating his information on that system, and he can check his leaves on that. That how many leaves he has pending leaves and he has applied.
Yeah,
on
I think
that.
there's some software that you're using currently, and it might
Yeah.
be something.
Yeah, we have the system that how many leaves I have applied and then leave policies I can check on that. I can apply leaves. I can
So yes, that's all relevant data.
that
Based on the features what we are offering into our product now, we can add on that.
they can have holidays, how many holidays the companies have.
That's good. I think that's a good information. I mean, that's all HR systems will be.
Yeah, that is into ERP system. Like they can have their IT declaration forms, their whatever the information company needs, they can provide. Like IT declaration, HR policies, everything they can add to that.
Okay. So anything else from this? Is it all done?
Also, they can check with Metrics organization where we are working under some other project manager and our reporting manager is someone else. So
it might be like we have those secondary profiles.
Yes.
In those cases, right? They would look at what all whose titles I'm working under, right? Who my reporting managers on those cases, right? So I think that would be relevant information for them.
But for these type of organization, reporting manager, sometimes what happen when we apply leave for our reporting manager is someone else, we apply leave to our reporting manager. The project manager says why the leave is approved without my approval.
This is your persona.
So in that case, that the CC part should be there. That reporting manager and project manager should get to know that this person is going on
yes,
leave.
but who all needs to be notified for
everyone. Because what happens? There is a project.
That point is already raised by us, but then they said that it's not on the priority right now.
It depends
We
upon
will take it upon
the requirement. The
when it
requirement
is developed completely, then we will be
so
thinking
then
about it.
we can always suggest all improvements based
Yes.
on the value adding part,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So how the
Because CC part should be there, because without CC,
you can tell them now. You can record. I've recorded it. You can play it.
What happen when there is this hampers the delivery of the soft project. Like whenever person goes on leave, if project manager doesn't know that he's going leave on that day, and he has some urgent deliverables on that day, so that can hamper.
So there needs to be a communication between all kind of confirmation from the project manager.
So there should be a CC part, so that first project manager approves that leave and then the reporting manager approves that.
Yep. Now I feel we have a lot of transparency.
Yes. Fine. Okay.
So next is
Yes,
system
the last point, more and more expect
The
your
employer
employer
has
has
to
to
do self-service at least
millennials do.
to HR, which
In their
now are in
30s.
their 30s.
Employees have the system with self-service. So what it means is that there should be a system, software in place which has this ability to, you can update yourself. It's not that, okay, HR is doing for all of you, right? So you should be able to update your user profile data yourself. That is the self-service thing. Yes. Right? Okay. So we've done the blue collar, we have done the managers. What are we looking at? HR Global?
HR Global.
Yeah. System administrator. So HR, it's a scenario where the organization is a multinational organization or multiple location organization, and there's a global HR who's taking care of all HR departments. Fine? So for you, Rupali. To understand it better, yeah.
Successor planning. Lack of resources can be like उसके पास other resources नहीं है उस चीज को update करने के लिए.
Lack of कि अगर आप जैसे छुट्टी पे जा रहे थे तो आपका कोई बैकअप होना चाहिए.
इसका मतलब है कि HRs, she doesn't have HRs to work with. So
Yeah,
everything she has to do by herself.
वही मैंने अभी बोला कि like उसके साथ ज्यादा resources नहीं है update करने के लिए data he has or she
There are
has.
many verticals she had to follow, right? She didn't follow with other HR that way. And there are some strategical things also she had to do. So वो कैसे सब कुछ मैनेज करेगी, तो वो चीज़ के लिए उसे एक ऑटोमेटेड सिस्टम चाहिए. So you just think of this point as if she didn't have any system, how she had to manage all of it, right? So that's the requirement of her to have a HRIS system that she can be able to do a lot in less time.
Expect good reports on all the areas. I'm thinking about reports.
And you know, when you'll be now after this, when you are going to be in that role and we'll be talking about specific features, then you'll be running more.
Yes.
We look at the time and we'll see that how much we can do, right? On the role playing. We'll do a few more. We can spend time till 7, 15, 12, 15 on this, and then we can move on to the next step. Yes. Okay, now are you ready?
Yes.
Let's discuss.
Okay. We'll be discussing it. Again, the same thing as she has to maintain everything, and she has to report to the HR director, and for that she wants a good report so that she can show it to the HR director.
What kind of reports would she be using?
Like
employee data,
their
Kind of there is the thing, the length of service we are talking about. Then if there is any positions coming over or requirements of the position, then might be he need to present that how long length of service people are over there in the company, and she can put into that these employees are having, so we can do the talent pooling in that
For skills.
for skills or something, or
like
if
lack of where the major they have lack of resources, like which
Project departments and all of that.
all kind of
they can gather requirements, like if in this team there is some lack of resources, then they can.
In what all situations would she be giving reports?
in the bonus thing,
Bonus
and
thing.
compensation
Salary.
steps also, salaries also, and
Again,
talent pooling,
appraisals.
yeah,
And again,
appraisals,
absences.
Management.
Yes.
updation of the profiles,
Updation. Yeah, looking at ensuring that the profiles are updated.
updated or not.
Yes. What else? Anything more?
Successors also,
Succession planning
also,
can be. Yeah, can be. Okay.
and the flight risk or mobilities.
So I think that will
something
also help in the succession planning.
Succession
Yes,
planning,
yes.
yes.
Flight risk especially.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Moreover, except this, she might be administrating everything, like again, creating templates for the processes or which are not in use, deleting them and archiving the processes which are not in
Even
use.
if we
as
just
of
talk about administration of users, we talk
Yes.
about that. So enabling, disabling users that way,
Activation,
looking at that,
deactivation,
ensuring the data is correct for everyone.
onboarding and offboarding,
And
Not
onboarding,
be
offboarding.
Archiving process.
processes that
But
are
we are
there
not talking
for
about this. We are going a little farther now. Come back to it. So don't talk about other.
At the
modules.
same time, we have to take care that she's not the technical person, so we have to
Yes.
make the processes as much easy as we can.
HRIS system. Yes. So yes, it's like recording of data should be easy for her as well, and fetching the reports because she is going to be the extensive user of that reports, right? So
Might be the performance.
Helpful in that short, small companies, like where there is just one HR and he or she has to look after 20 to 30 or 40 employees.
this can help in that organization.
The reports you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and you'll be coming up to that as well. After this, there's another persona which is talking about the local HR.
So I think here the main thing can be the performance also, because
Yes.
that is the most important
Because
thing.
when HR global,
Yeah.
when she is going to fetch the data, she's going to
Might
fetch
be
for
the
all
100
those
or 200
organizations as
employees
well.
at the same time.
Yes, very good point. And for her, because she would be a part of administrating, she would be very playing a very good role on ensuring who accesses what.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Giving access to
Yes.
particular.
Yes. So that part of administration of the user settings also should be easy for her to understand.
That,
You know this case, this has happened recently, which Rupert has told me about, is about the setting which says all. When we give access, and all, user, manager and HR.
Yes.
So what was understood from all was
All the roles. Even this confusion is
customers.
with the new people as well who are joining in the application.
Yeah.
like
What
what admin access we are going to give, like
I can tell you what our application is that for each field you can give access to every employee.
like I have one example, like we are going to application like Jira. What access we are going to give to different roles, like what access we are going to give to developers and what QA, or you can say that in Jenkins and all, what access is going to give to QA
Different
part.
permissions you have, right?
Yeah.
So you give different permissions.
Like we
Right.
don't have to give that developer permission, like he can delete or something.
That's
Or
right. So yes, that's the similar thing that we do in our application as well. We have different fields, like we have name, first name, last name, age, and other stuff into it. So like salaries, like social security, or we have Aadhaar card number as we say. So those things. Whom should we give access to? Specific fields, right?
Like
So
read and write access.
read and write access as well, right? Even
We have to give,
visibility access.
read access to whom and
Yeah,
write
that's
access
right.
to whom. Like we have to give team leads to write access, then we can.
So that kind of access we provide, and the setting it says all. All means for us, all means everyone, all users in that whole organization. But it was understood as all the roles
That were defined below them.
employee, HR, or manager.
All
And that's
that is confusing. I understand that all means giving role.
specific roles.
Like specific roles that we have. All
Like
the
all
managers.
that I am employee, I am getting all the roles. Like
No. If I'm talking about one
Available
field,
in the
and I'm saying access to all, it means for in real situation means everyone in the organization would be able to see that field, for example, right? But according to customer, they understood that it is only accessible to user, manager, or HR manager.
The roles,
The
defined
roles
defined
defined for that
roles,
person.
standard roles.
Right. So this is actually the part of the ease of use. So how the user experiences that, right? So
the case with every customer?
no, one of the customers,
But it's case with our new
employees.
as well.
Okay. So ultimately, this is anyways going to improve, right? So we said that we'll just change the text and it will work for us, right?
All users we can do that over here.
We can say all roles.
All roles.
Or something more.
You'll be continuing with the role play because
Yeah, I think we should be doing that now, right?
next
Okay.
is the HR locals.
No, but we are going to do is role play. Okay.
We are left to HR. We need to discuss it.
Okay.
Then we have
IT, finance. Yeah. I mean, if I just give you an overview how IT, we can just talk about it like this, right? We talked about this length of service and a unified field and user data. What kind of information will be HR local? What kind of operations would a local HR perform with HR system and the report? What kind of usage would she be doing?
I think we are using the insurance part that we can give the insurance to the 2 years plus or the very first joining people.
Based on
2+ years or something. Recognition part within the locally we can also do. So that is the positions also, bonuses also, recognitions also, and salary thing. That if we are going to update the salaries then into the system, promotions will be based on that.
Based on the length of service.
Anniversaries.
Yeah.
Anniversaries, birthdays.
Yes. So yes, so now we know that how this local HR will use it. IT person, how would that be used?
The assets assigned to that and if there is a regular need of the servicing to the laptops or something,
But in
that
this system, we don't maintain that, right?
but IT person can be used ना कि अगर किसी का 1 year से है assigned है तो वो length of service से check करेगा कि किसको कब से system से link है, then servicing that can be do. And system access
Follow up on the IT.
employees can correct that like the assets assigned and the assets length of
Leads the company to reduce the cost connected to the different systems. Cheaters, yeah, object
licenses consumed.
But he has a very limited access.
Limited access to it, because he won't be needing all the other
This is the role for which we started custom system rules, I think.
So yes, and then there's finance. Again, I think there's a lot of data that finance can utilize the salary, right? Like the service will be important.
Bonuses.
I mean, all the
financial
absences, yes, but for now, the HR system will not. TDS, it will be on the salary itself, right? Salaries. Okay, so now we know. Let's talk about now. So the case was, I'm going to give you the case now. Thank you.
First page.
Okay. Yes. You won't need to keep them separate because we are going to use these, right? Now, one person is going to be a manager, and one person will be interviewing him. And interview questions are, so the case is the same. The case study, if you can go through it. As I said, the system is to store all the employee data for an organization. The feature is built. A feature is built to create a report, which can be saved. It can be filtered as well, right? You can sort on that as well. Just to think of those features which are mentioned here, and then we think of how they'll be utilizing it as well, right? Resulting report can be sorted on all the fields. We have added a new field, length of service, to the user profile, which calculates the length of service from the date of hire till date. Right? Let's create test cases around the user each persona. So now we have this persona manager. One who is going to act as manager can go through this again, and the person who is going to act as interviewer have to go through these. Just keep in mind what kind of questions you are going to ask, right? What do you want to get as an output? Who's going to play interviewer?
Tamanvadia and Pali can be the managers, and
One person would be
One person.
Rest of the you will be observers and noting down. And the could be you can, because you are going to be in that role. Just note down what are you going to say about.
so go clockwise.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead. We can go.
Yeah.
Tamanvadia is going to interview Rupali,
Rupali.
and Divya is going to interview Raman.
Okay. You are going to interview. Yes. So Rupali, you can read through these again if you want to, and just think of you are yourself as a manager. Fine. You are into that role anyways, right? So you have been into such role, right? Product coordination, you can think of, right?
We have mentioned about data handling.
But it's a length of service, right?
ऑटोमेशन चाहिए ना
टर्मिनेशन भी चाहिए होता है।
कंजर्वेशन नहीं करेंगे ले सकते हैं, बट हमारे सिस्टम में दोनों तरीके से
हाँ, हम टिल डेट वाले लेके चलते हैं।
बट नहीं, आप बता देना आपको चाहिए तो
ठीक है।
भाई लेंथ ऑफ सर्विस के लिए बंदा
क्वेश्चन है ना, वो अच्छा था।
Okay, so you can read through Rupali this thing and just think of yourself as a manager. Fine. There are few sheets here. So you'll be knowing more.
है, उसकी रेंट ऑफ टर्मिनेशन दी हुई है, पर उसको आज
तो आपको क्या पहले मैं आपसे
टर्मिनेशन नहीं कर पा रहा।
what are you going to inquire?
वो हमारे सिस्टम में है ही नहीं। करंट डेट का तब तक करता है जब तक हमको रेंट ऑफ सर्विस नहीं दी। अगर उससे रेंट ऑफ सर्विस दी तो करंट
इसी को तो ऐसा दिया था
उस पे मतलब
You don't need just play your
वो
role.
कर रहे हैं
You are be a manager.
एक दूसरी फील्ड मान कस्टम फील्ड बना के वो उसके साथ में बैठे।
Yeah, managers all depend upon the company's culture.
नहीं अब वो ये था कि
Manager all depends on the company's culture.
वर्किंग कल्चर की बात कर रहे होते ना वो वर्किंग कल्चर में क्या क्या
एक मैनेजर किस तरह से बिहेव करता है वो
All the working culture.
उसकी क्या रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज है
आपको उसके
Manager भी different types के हैं कि like what
कि प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजर है आपका या नॉर्मल
delivery manager
डिलीवरी
है.
मैनेजर ये डायरेक्ट रिपोर्टिंग में
तो आपने रमन ने जैसे एक्सप्लेन यू व्हाट यू आर गोइंग टू टॉक अबाउट इज द फीचर ऑफ लेंथ ऑफ सर्विस तो आप इंक्वायर करोगे कि आप ये लेंथ ऑफ फीचर लेंथ ऑफ सर्विस को क्यों चाहते हो राइट and those things that we have just gone through the question if you have something to
So he is going to ask me.
yes okay just think about or can you do you need any clarity
In type of service, like in this case, like how the manager they want to use it.
manager सबको सुन Just about giving you some kind of figures. That's what our leaders can think of, right? So whatever it is here, the leaders will just like thumbs up, we'll ask that. Okay? So you can act like hello Rupali and then as you need to.
come to your role that you do regularly
So you are a customer success.
and your interaction with Drupal is already every day. पहले दो तीन जोक भी मार दो
Okay, everybody. I'm Raman. So currently, I'll be working with you. Like as I come to know that you need one field length of service. So I just need to take the requirement on that. So
Yeah. So ask.
like,
पूछो ना.
okay. like, so I just want to know like what is the basic reason that we want to use length of services as a field in the application? Okay.
Nice.
Just don't look at us. We are not there.
So I will be requiring length of service so that I will know tenure of the employee, that from what date he has joined the company and what will be done last day working, so that I can get to know what is the performance of the
Okay. Basically, what you want to do, like you want us length of services just to come to know about what you like to know about the different what I can say is because you want to take some action against that field, like appraisals processes or
Yeah.
some. Okay.
Because I will be as a reporting manager for the different employees. So I will be requiring that field so that I can get at what time he has joined this company, so that I can calculate his tenure in this company, so that will help me in the appraisal thing.
How would it be the appraisal? You can be asking that question.
Appraisal thing like that. First, I already told you that from how many, what is the length in this office?
For how long he
He's
is working?
like 6 months, 1 month, 1 month or 10 months or 1 year, or he's working with company from last 10 years, or so that depends upon his that totally affects his appraisal. Like if he is working since last 2 years, so he's going to be promoted. So,
So, so is there any chance, like, when you will be using this field, like you hire employees, like, is there any chance that you hire employees on the basis of contract, like, you need to specify
yeah, I
some
can
things?
get to know that there is like if the employee if in particular team that the employees has already there is a short lack of resources, so I can help the teams to mm, generate the requirements of the I can generate the requirements in front of HR team that this team has the lack of resources. I need some new resources for that team that they require experienced resources or new resources like freshers or experience. Like if I have requirement in testing team, then what sort of resources they are requiring. I can help that team with that. Like if there is requirement in some project phase that at what phase they are requiring this, like there is a backend resource which has left. So is this at what point where that project is like it is in the delivery phase? So I have to hire some experienced resource so that he can able to understand the system easily. If is it into starting, I can hire some less experience so that field can help me in that.
Okay, means like you are saying, like this can be used like for the regular work basis, like when you are having a new hiring,
Yeah.
and in case when you need a new resource,
Yeah.
and then you'll be using this as a contract with, and there will
But
be.
I can have in this is shifting purposes, like I can shift teams also. I can have that if this is an experienced employee in this company, I can shift that him is into project management role that based on the length of the service. Like he has been working for last 5 years in the company. I can shift him into some other role that he can be the project management manager so that he can guide other team members. So this will can help me in that also.
Okay, for and on the basis of this, you want to generate the reports, like.
Yeah, I can generate reports on like I can generate reports on the basis of this that it will help me in appraisal, performance review, bonuses. That if some employee is working for last 1 month in this project, so that can help me.
I think it's good, isn't it? So yes, now you can be the manager, Rama. If you want to go, or you have any questions in your mind? Yes, okay. So just the triggers. These are not all the questions you have to
These
ask.
are sort of.
Fine.
It was keeping on this spot that what can be the requirement. I was just
Yeah, I think
recalling
this is very good that you went into that role. In the real time, you can't think of all those scenarios when you get into those roles from your past experiences. Then
Yeah, this was actually I get these points because it was happening to me in the different projects. I was saying that when I was working into company like that can help me in this because they have always such lack of resources and
And I think that when you said about the part of resource management, and you said that okay, how can you?
I have already working with the allocation of resources.
Yes.
Actually, I was working with the delivery manager. I was assisting him in the resource management. So, if there is some requirement in this, that there are multiple projects under one delivery manager, and there is requirement in some one project manager, and the other project manager has 3 or 4 testing person, and one has only just one.
So we can one of the personas, like the person who's providing resources, delivery manager.
I think
is
the
one.
same can be used for the basis for the that we have the functionality for the register subordinate and the higher permit.
So if he has requirement of he has one project manager has 3 or 4 projects, and he requires more testing person or backend person, we can shift that. I have already done. We can shift to that role. We can shift teams. Like I can suggest that this person is free in this team, and he can.
So manager can even himself tell that okay, these persons are available. Okay,
Like
this is
we
a
can
this much
have-
experience, I would require this kind of people, but you can take up this.
We can have the estimations for the projects, like what
I have
is
this
the
time of this type of resources with this length of service.
Length
kind
of
of
service. I
experience.
can, like one person is working length of project, and
Who is going to be free on what time?
what time.
That's
So
good.
it
Makes sense.
can help me so that I can use that resource in some other projects also. So that can help me. So I generally have this type of much exposure, so that's very good.
Very good inputs. Thank you, Rupali. So we can start with Raman.
Hi, Roman.
And
Hi. So we are here to talk about technical service. So before going further, I just want to know your thoughts about technical service. On technical service.
how we are going to use it, or but
How you come up with the thought of
okay, actually, length of services, as our organization sometimes hires employee on a contract base. So we are currently big organization, and sometimes there are some skills which are required outside our organization. So we need to mention for how long the employee is currently working with us, for how long it has. Like if we had employee for 1 year, we can be considered we extend his other employment with us for more. So just wanted to make sure for how long he or she is working with us.
Okay, so today how are you calculating it? Because how are you coming up with the data, total time period?
I think today we are just entering the start day, joining date, date of joining, and when the person leaves at
Then you calculate it manually.
yes.
So you want some field which automatically calculates it
Yes.
and just show up the length of service. Okay. So what kind of data do you want to see in this field? Is it based on months, years, or do you want to include days and weeks also?
Basically, if you I think we can just share only the day, month, and year. No, yes.
The date, month, and year.
Yes.
Okay. So it could be like 2 months, 2 years, and 2 months.
Yes.
And how many duration you'll be using it? Like, would you like to use it? Would you like to use it annually or on a quarterly basis or monthly? At what point, how many times do you want to see that length of service of the employee? If you
In what situations you will be utilizing that?
Okay, whenever we are obviously whenever a person joins our organization, we'll be entering his start date, like when he has started. But if there should be a field where I can just see length of service, just to look for the field that okay, this person is working from 2 years with us. So it should be available always, with the change, it will be, with months it will be incremental, like it will be now.
Always
updated. Yeah, always updated.
Okay. Can you share some of the instances where this length of service will be most helpful to you?
In the case like we have different employees working on different roles. Like some employees have been working as like initially they work as a developer, you can say associate developer, and at a certain point of time they will be moved to new roles, but the promotions you can say that person change to new roles, and further than you can say new another role. So, and also it will be helpful for generating their for HR system for HR it will be very useful like for generating their presence and all that.
Implement and all that.
So do you want it to be accessible only to HR department or to other departments also, like for finance or to some other department as well?
No, it will be available. It will be available for the employees itself because yeah, it will be a common field because for employees it will not be editable. This skill should not be editable. So that it will be displaying your data. So for now it will be easier for every like HR for finance as well and for the users also. They should be able to see this.
Okay. Yeah, we can do it.
Can we now change the rule? Yes,
We have another role as. Can you you call them employee?
White collar we can do.
You can be one can be a HR and
How come? Sir, can you explain me what you want, teacher?
role.
Different roles, yes. I think, but one person will be interviewing, right?
White collar.
It's a similar question that you know about the value of the what is
Yeah. As a white collar.
now you are into reality. We are white collar.
White collar. White collar. आपको कोई और रोल मिलेगा ब्लू कॉलर ले लेते हैं
तो वही वाली बात हो रही है वो पढ़ते थे ना क्वेश्चंस को करते आंसर की मेरी बारी आई
अभी कर लो
I'm Archana, so we got the requirements from the outside. Just want to have more clarity on the purpose why you want to have that particular field. Could you please help me with the purpose of that field?
The purpose basically, I just want to update myself, about the time period I've spent in the organization. Like I'm not very much comfortable with calculating, doing math, so that every time considering my day joining the current date. So I want something to just in front of my eyes, open the profile and I just got to see my.
Do you want us to make the electric circuit editable or do you want us to that it should be getting calculated automatically and it should not be editable?
Yeah, if it's calculated automatically, it's really good because otherwise
First,
false information or incorrect information. If it's not available, so you want it to be deleted.
What would this information add to you? What would you use this information for?
If I talk to myself, I'll be considering the loyalty bonus. After how many I'm going to give my bonus. So, and also if I want to move to some other fields or some other role, which I will be clear after 3 years or 4 years, you'll be moving to another role. So,
Can also help me in calculating my experience.
Skills.
So, labor code that you are using, if you will be using this in our system, or do you want us to make it responsive? Responsiveness is very good because every day to use mobile. So if I'm having access to my profile in this game, and
Share your screen, okay. And
then can input cycles.
you want us to be responsive too so that you can use it in your mobile too. That's okay, sure. They do that. And there was one more doubt that yes, you are. Do you want us to make it? Do you want us to consider the leap year also?
Yes.
And okay, because we do have.
Skip my home.
And the month as we have 30 days month and 31 days month, then you want us to consider that? Yes. Okay, we'll do that.
Should automatically be considered because how
Sometimes it happens that we are getting the requirement, we should clear it that whether they want us to consider leave year or not. So that we make it like that only.
basically when you calculate even your salary for per day, you divide always with 30. You won't go with 31 because you consider that month to be of 30 days only.
And that we should
Basically, it
need to ask
depends
the customer
sometimes.
whether they wanted to or not.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it. Yes, surely we will
Would you be also looking at the need of seeking for some length of service? I mean, would you be looking at the reports using the length of service?
Yes, being an employee, sometimes it is kind of a curiosity to look into the employee. So if I get the data from so that I can coordinate or some on the requirement basis of the need of our the person with the different students.
that would be. So with that we need the competency skills.
I
So what we say is that,
that.
so especially by looking at the real need of this person who really controls data. Right?
But if that length of service of other employees, if I get the reports of other employees, that will not be
Yeah, so
some-
then I'm talking about that only, that majorly the person will be focusing on the phone. It's a kind of, again, organization decision that they want to give access to the reports or not. Right?
because
Just trying-
that will
trying
be a
to-
confidentiality
Yes.
because
Every employee,
Confidential.
I mean, again,
Yeah,
it's on the employees, right? That's how the culture of the organization is, whether we want to show that information or not. But for if I can look at this, there's not real need of that information. It's just about learning for others, right?
Maybe there is a need for that report when you want to get yourself prepared for the next role. You must be knowing that this much will be the time that I need to spend in my current role, and after this time I'll be moving to another
How
role.
would that? How will you come to know from that report that?
At least my manager became manager after 3 years.
So
He
you
served.
will need the
but
history.
he can be manager in some other organization, so that's why he has hired as a manager. So how can you calculate because
So length of
maybe
service will not be able to help you with that.
that
I can understand that. Okay.
But I think we can do as for the mentorship things that
We
if
can
we
consider
are looking for the
competency, we can match the competency
Yes.
with the experience, that for this particular experience we need to have this kind of competency that it will help us.
but how can it be length of service?
More of the role and competency. I can't
And
relate it to the length
we
of
don't
service.
need to discuss, we need to discuss the
No, no, the point is about really relevant relevant test data and test cases. So that's why we are discussing this one. Whether it's a real test case. Is it
To have a
real?
report of others.
Yeah.
Because maybe the employee that is hired, if he is hired as a fresher and he's been to the company for last 5 to 10 years, so that can help the users with the performance of that is managership. And otherwise, if he is hired as a
Because
manager,
I don't see that in that sense that okay, man, how would this data help an employee? Yeah, this could be inspiration, all of that, whatever we are talking about, right? But this is not the real need of the application. So
What
as we
is,
say that okay, other departments are going to utilize this information for some purpose, right? कि इस information को use करके कुछ करने वाले, कुछ action plan है. company.
जैसे ट्रेनिंग्स या डेवलपमेंट अगर हम इनिशिएट करने वाले हैं तो कौन-कौन उनके लिए ट्रेनर
It can help to a manager, HR and finance team and IT team, but not to employee.
I want to see the length of service of all the employees so that I can know who's going to complete 1 year plus renovation.
that is for the
But then for that case, it will be HR's responsibility to create
Because
instead of the employee.
In that case,
I don't think it that, but just is he is going to become.
you can't look at the length of service. You will be looking at the data plan. You will be looking at the data plan.
So it is not going to much help employee part. So
For that, creating that culture, yes, individual initiative is there, that okay, you want, but for creating that culture, it's a responsibility of HR to get that data into system so that you get all the indicators that, right? So enabling part will be done by HR.
Yes, agree.
So yes, the test cases we have to identify. That's why we were talking about those relevant cases, right? So next, move on to next role.
You call it or HR global?
अच्छा लोग whatever अच्छा लोग हैं कहीं mixing तो नहीं so Ashna is going to be interviewed.
HR global.
Local
New type for me.
Hi Archana. So we came to know that you are needing this the report system for your organization. So as I know, you are working as a global HR in your organization. So I want to know that how frequent you are requiring and how much for how many employees you are requiring this thing.
Actually, we do have 1,000 employees in our company, and for that, I need to maintain the data of each and every employee, the onboarding, offboarding, and the processes I have to generate, and I have to give that particular report to my HR director also. So I want to have this thing so that all these needs can be fulfilled.
And 1,000 is the current employees, or you are thinking about in the future perspective also
These are
that
the current employees. which
current
we can-
employees.
we can-
And the max, what we are thinking about that, how max to max employees you can hire at the current time you can have in the one time.
It could be 1,020.
1,020. Okay. So max when we are taking the 120 or 130 max to max. 1,020. Okay. So one thing more I want to know that are you guys are going to use this report for the external systems also, or just for the our system you are going to use? The reports generated by our system.
The report, I'm the only one who's going to use that report, and I want that I can share that report to those persons that I want to share.
Okay, so you are going to share on the emails in the. So do you need in the PDF format, Excel formats, or in the other stuff also, or you're just going to share it by exporting in the Excel and then on the emails or other stuff?
I want to cut it. The system is already there. Reporting system is already there. So we need to redirect direction towards length of service.
Okay. But the report can be used in the different ways also.
Report is already there. Reporting system is already there. तो वो सब कुछ है क्योंकि आपका जो एक्सपोर्टिंग वो सब कुछ फंक्शनलिटीज ऑलरेडी है हमने एक नई सीख डाली है
Okay. So how do you think that this length of service is going to be used by you guys?
So that I can see the bonus thing, to whom we have to give the bonus and who's going to complete the anniversary part, and we can see that so that we can give some gifts or something that we want to give them.
And how frequent you are requiring this? For every month or
It depends because we have more than 1,000. Not currently we have 1,000 employees, but in future we can have more than that. So every day I need to check whose birthday is coming and whose anniversary is coming.
Okay.
So how does length of service help into that?
based on the length of service, I can see that yes, this particular employee has been completed 1 year in this organization today, and so that I can give some.
You can does it mean that you would be filtering on the report? That means filtering in that sense that okay, when you export length of service, you would be required to filter, or in your filtering system, you would require filtering option on the length of service as well.
Yeah,
And
that
categorize.
we can filter on the basis of different that categories, like who is completing 1 year, and we get the employee list, and who is going to complete 2 years, who has per days on that.
So that means filtering would be required. So what kind of filtering? Sorry, let's just go ahead because I want this little more test data for you. So what kind of filtering would it be? Would it be on date filtering that okay, today the one who was completing, or less than equals to, or something like that? Also the filter, is there any filter like that?
I say both can help. Less than part on the today.
They will with the other fields in the combination of other fields, like for the which manager at this point of experience people are required for the length of services.
Only with that particular length of service.
On the particular length of service. I think that is okay for us.
But if director expects to look at all employees who completed 2 years with the organization, with different departments in the organization.
Okay, then yes, department and I guess location would also be required in that case.
Filtering will be required on the basis of department,
teams, and then the service.
How is sorting?
Sorting part is already done, right?
Filtering it is.
So sorting, do you need the sorting part on the length of service
On
itself?
the basis of current date, I guess.
On the current date. Okay. So by default in the sending or descending, that we can figure out.
Yeah.
Okay, what does it mean is that, what does it mean on the basis of current date?
Like on a particular
Date, what is the length
length
of
of
service?
service.
So by default it is on the current date.
It is the value calculation on the current date. Right?
Yes.
The filtering is not on the current date. No, sorting is not there. So, I mean,
Yeah.
that is
So how can sorting will help?
sorting can help. Like in my case, for example, I was looking for, filter can one thing better.
Filter will help me better, like I can see the number of employees on that date or something.
Sorting
More
would be only
readability.
structuring the data better, right? Structuring the data in better way.
In a sequence, like if you want to see 2 year who is completing 2 years, then you can see over there by sorting.
Like for example, you got all the QAs, all the people who are in the QA room. You didn't want to filter separately everyone, but you wanted to include only those
So
people.
we can have the filter of different
yes.
teams. Then how
Yeah, but
can
it's about not about teams. It's about QA role. Job role was a QA, not dependent on any team, right? It's my real time situation, I can tell you. So I have to invite you all for that meeting, which we had yesterday. So I used the use profile report, and I got all the QAs, and then I had wanted to sort it according to the length of service, right? So that I can choose only the people who are more than 1.5 years of experience, right? So the sorting was not working for me, and then I had to do a manual job which was not correct, and I had to ask someone to look for it. Right? I could use filter, but that was one way. But this is another way.
Sorting is something you just click and it will either give you results in the sending order or descending order, giving.
Only, I think this will help in those cases when you want to have an overall picture, and then you want to.
but we have a large number of data, like we have all the employees. So sorting.
So
So पहले मैं उसको
The
filter नहीं
data in descending and
वो
descending.
ठीक है,
I'm saying-
filter would be good for at the shot I want only these employees.
पहले मैं नहीं आपने कहा ना like मैंने पहले filter किया कि पहले तो like we
job
have
की वजह से filter किया.
वही पहले तो मैं फिल्टर ही करूंगी
हाँ।
because we have 1000 employees in our database, तो पहले तो मैं उसको फिल्टर करके ही डाटा निकालूंगी.
मैंने 1000 में से जॉब रोल QA वाले निकाल लिए.
Then we can sort on the basis.
हाँ, because I wanted to know कि कितने हैं QAs, right? तो मेरा पर्पस डिफरेंट था. I wanted to look at कि 30 कितने QAs हैं हमारे पास, right? So I looked at that, but now I didn't want to generate another report. So I wanted to export it and I wanted to filter it on Excel. Let's say.
So we can sort on the basis of
length of service itself,
length
right?
of service.
मैं इसको sort करके मैं ऊपर से जितने मेरे को निकालने थे उसमें copy paste किया, done हो गया, right? So those are the cases.
Like who is much experience, and we can sort on the basis.
According to experience.
Ascending order and descending order, like.
And the last point was that while fetching the data, performance should be good.
Yes. That's why I asked how many employees you have. That's all, I think. Okay, good.
Are you interviewing?
Yeah.
And
Role play will be
Local nature. Same answer. Both.
Sirupani, we got to know about the new requirement of length of service from your organization. So I would like to know in what situation, what is the need of using asking length of service? How will that serve the purpose?
I think for within the organization, for the talent acquisitions and for the success, I think also that if there is an employee is going to leave, there is a flight risk high, so we need to do the planning for the same, and that for that also we need the length of services. And when I was initiate the appraisals or the performance things, that I also need the length of services because we have the 1000 employees and we can't initiate in the one go, so we have to make it in the chunks. That for the 5 years experience, first we are going to appraisal and then those generating the appraisal for them, and then other in the, you can say that in the 1 month gap. So for that I think we need this report.
So you need this report for you as an HR, or
Yes.
you want this report as other, you want this for your managers or employees as well?
I think for the not for the employees, but yes, for the managers we can require that.
And for managers, what do you think, what kind of data do they enter? Do they, should the length of service be populated by itself on some dates, or how do you think it should be manually entered by the users?
I think it should be calculated automatically.
But if you want, in that scenario, if you want total length of service for that employee, for instance, they have outdoor experience as well, and in your organization you have 1 year of experience, but from other organization you have 3 years of experience.
But
So do you need the calculated amount of service, or just the service which is in your organization?
I think we will be requiring the combination of both, because we don't want to that we hired them because of basis on their experience, so we can't simply ignore that. But for the bonus purposes, yes, we have to look into the loyalty with the company. So I think it should be customizable, but it should not be restricted to one thing. So it depends upon that.
So you need 2 more fields as well. You need to
Yes.
have another.
It should be
field.
customizable, you can say that.
So you need length of service for years, months, days as well, or just the years?
I think years and months will work for us.
So you don't need the days.
No.
And you need some role-based length of services as well. For instance, you have a role, say, associate QA, and that length of service is year, and then the role of employees change. Say he is now QA engineer, and then his length of service is 2. You need role-based length of service, or just the generic length of service?
I think generic.
Generic. And do you think this will serve your purpose?
Yes, I think that the roles we are able to configure ourselves, so it will not hamper us.
Alright, in what situations do you think you may perform the search? As you said that you need it for appraisals and everything. Do you think there is any other actions you need to perform the search?
For the reports thing, I think for that I have already mentioned that for the flight risk things, succession plannings, and the talent acquisitions, and I think for as I am a HR, so I have to do the other stuff also, like to see that if there is any reward or something going on in the company for the monthly basis, so I can divide in that also, and for the employee of the
Yes. How would that happen?
My type the month I don't think will depend on service.
no, it's not going to help in that.
Even the foreign destination also will not. So this- How,
Yes,
how
depends
are
on
you?
the
But it depends upon the loyalty bond.
Loyalty can be.
If you think that you want to be you want to know the reaching length of service, that if an employee completes 4 years or 1 year. So I hope you will not be generating the report every day. You will be possibly want some triggers on emails as well for the same.
I will be requiring the emails.
You need the triggers on
Yes, on the length of services also.
And you, what do you think that trigger should go to what all users?
I think to the managers and to the HRs also. And for the finance, I think that can be helped to them because they have to do the financial things in advance for the same thing. So I think it should be sent to the both.
So you think there is any security concern in it, or that the length of service should be visible only to some users and not to all the organizations?
I think
Is
it
it
should.
sensitive data for your organization?
No, it's not the sensitive data, but it should be dependent on the access permissions at least.
So, so you think you will be giving access just to the HRs and higher level organizations, not to the other users?
It depends, as I mentioned, it should be customizable. It depends upon the rules and the regulations coming into the company. So according to that, we should be able to customize that. At some point of time, might be we are requiring that we don't want to show to everyone.
Introduction also.
I'm going to be
Okay.
IT वाला रह गया.
IT
Well,
और finance. IT को तो
हाँ,
चाहिए.
करो यार.
IT को तो चाहिए.
होगा because of that
Everything was done.
replacements. After 4 years.
Hello. Help you.
I know. क्या टाइम हो गया? कौन सा equipment दिया हुआ है?
अगर वो डेटा मेंटेन कर रहा है
कौन सा रोल है? पर ऐसे थोड़ी होता है, हर एम्प्लॉय को हम नया इक्विपमेंट थोड़ी दे देते हैं.
और
एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ
एलोकेशन और डीएलोकेशन तो होती है ना.
Allocation, deallocation of assets.
we deallocate on the basis of their
वही मैं
length.
कह रही लेंथ ऑफ सर्विस पे डीएलोकेशन नहीं है. मैं वही बात कर रही हूँ.
Allocation हो सकती है.
वही बात है, बोलते हैं ना एलोकेशन के ऊपर डिपेंड करेगा.
मुझे लगता है लेंथ ऑफ सर्विस
सर्विस
के लिए
से
एलोकेशन
अगर वो रेलेवेंट नहीं है, हमें लग रहा है कि आई इज नॉट रेलेवेंट पर्सोना, देन वी लीव इट.
we can have finance.
हाँ. तभी इसलिए सारे पर्सोनास रखते थे. माइट बी सम पर्सोना डजंट फिट इनटू इट.
बट फिर भी हमने अभी तो इम्प्लीमेंट किया
क्या
क्योंकि हर एक ईयर के बाद इनको सिस्टम अभी असाइनमेंट की सर्विसिंग होगी, तो
वो
बंदे वो डिपेंड करता है आपको सिस्टम का भी.
सिस्टम के एलोकेशन सिस्टम की एलोकेशन सबको मिला
नहीं वो नहीं, तो वो भी नहीं हो सकता. कईयों को मिल चुके 2 सालों में चेंज हो गए थे.
आपको हमसे पहले मिला, हमें बाद में
मेरा
मिला.
पहले जवाब देगा.
वही तो
वही तो बात है, वो सिस्टम के ऊपर डिपेंड है.
सिस्टम.
I don't think कि length of service IT के लिए इतनी बड़ी
That's why we left it.
finance. So hi Nandini, myself Misha, and I'm here to gather your requirements regarding the field that you want us to introduce, that is length of service. So I know you are the person working in the finance department. So firstly, I would like to know what will be the purpose this field will be serving for you, being a finance person. being a finance person, we have to plan in advance that when our employees reaching some length of experience, and we have a company policies which says that we have to give bonuses, and we have to give bonuses, and then
Bonuses और वो तो HR देखेगी ना.
finance
wise करना होगा ना.
so financing salary budget.
Budgeting के लिए भी चाहिए.
Yes, and for budgeting purposes, and then we have
वो भी हो सकता है. That is.
You're jumping into her role. You can
I'm
give your
thinking.
by the time when we conclude, then we can talk about this.
and then for budgeting purposes, and where we have to show the expenditure to our finance team before we approve the budget.
Okay. So do you want this field as an individual field, per person you want to see the data, or you want a particular report where you can see the length of service of all the employees? Kind of you want to generate a report, or it will be person to person?
I want to have two kinds of reports, maybe. One which will say that who all employees are reaching the this particular length of service, and the other one could be the total, which could say the total employees which have crossed the length of service, and other can be which are reaching the length of service.
So you want this report to be automatically updated, or you want it to be updated by
No, I would like to have an automatically updated report, because I will not be looking into the filters every time, and I want that I should get triggered by emails when I say that before a month that this employee will be reaching their is eligible for the bonus next month. So I will start with the preparation a month ahead.
So you want us to keep your filters intact, and every time you open that report, the data should be updated later.
And then I want to have some features like Excels as well. I think we already
Exporting to the Excel.
And yes, we
I think for finance it would be really important.
Yes.
Yes,
and moreover, I would like to have days as well.
Okay, so you want it to be like 2 years, 5 months, and these number of days. Okay, so then I guess we will be working on that, and you'll be happy with the features we're providing you.
Okay. I want HR Global to be you
Okay.
again, and then or payroll again. Payroll can be one, isn't it? Payroll separate from payroll and administration, isn't it? No,
Payroll का तो होने यार like
payroll system कह सकते हैं, external payroll system which wants to do it.
But the finance में ही we can have
Just look at the payroll, there is same, and we can look into what can it help.
Payroll data, payroll needs access to relevant user profile fields only, reports on the fields which have access to, and also some overall reports to look at FTE.
ठीक है, HR Global कर लेते हैं बड़ा मतलब उसको बड़ा भारी यूज है इसका.
He is a very conservative person with the focus.
course-wise they can do completing particular number of years if you want to start with some course for further role. Might that
रोल
मतलब वो
years के ऊपर नहीं
एक
होता. हाँ.
ही बेसिकली हो जाएगा कि आपने बोला that can be a company is providing you कि अगर आपने कुछ एक specific period अपनी कंपनी के साथ spend करा है
वो उस पे भी लेंथ ऑफ सर्विस
के बेसिस पे नहीं जाएगा.
इस पे payroll पे click हुआ उन्होंने very conservative person is focused on data quality.
एक बेसिक होनी चाहिए कैलकुलेशन.
Calculation गलत
और 2 साल के बंदे को 5 साल का बोनस वही तो बात. And that's the point from finance.
Yes.
Data quality. नहीं कहने का मतलब ये
payroll के अंदर consider हुआ है.
हमारे 5 साल के बाद
हमारे सारे खत्म है इसके बाद।
हाँ मतलब वो है जो अप्रोच
एक ही
कर रहे
मिलेगा
हैं।
जो
हाँ।
ग्रेजुटी मिलेगी 5 years के बाद। 5 years आपके हो गए तो आप ग्रेजुटी के लिए एप्लीकेबल हो। ग्रेजुटी होती है, फर्स्ट टाइम पेमेंट होती है जब आप छोड़ रहे हो।
अच्छा तो वो तो
Basic
तब
salary
होती है ना कि जब कटती भी हो तो लाइक मंथली सैलरी में ग्रेजुटी कटती हो तभी मिलती है।
5 साल कटनी भी नहीं। आई डोंट नो मुझे
नहीं, वो बाद में डिस्कस कर लेंगे।
वो तो कंपनीज की पॉलिसीज में होता है कि ग्रेजुटी अगर
Okay,
हर महीने कट रही है तो वो 5 साल बाद मिलती है।
We'll be going with HR Global again. Interview.
क्या?
अभी मत ये तो करो सब लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग में चले जाना।
चलो हाँ
पता चले पूरी दुनिया को पता चल रहा है कि हम क्या डिस्कस कर
ओके
रिसर्चर ग्रुप का काम क्या है? ताकि मैं उस टाइप के क्वेश्चन पूछ
Misha.
Hi Misha, this is Rupali. So I got a requirement from your side that you will be requiring a new field into the system like length of service.
Yes.
So I just want to inquire that. So basically, for what purpose you are requiring that field?
Okay. So the basic purpose will be knowing how much employee has spent his time with the company, so that we can recognize him with the loyalty. We can recognize his work done, and moreover, we can see whether he still needs to be in the same department or he can be moved to the another department depending upon the experience he's having in the company.
So basically, what filters you want to add into that field?
Filters will be again depending upon the time they have spent, that is the experience, and they can be with filter can be with some another field as well, maybe with the department, so that we can consider that this is the tenure he has spent with this department and he can be moved to another department or not. So they can be combination with other fields as well as with this single field, that is length of service itself.
Okay. So you want sorting to be added also?
Yes.
So how can sorting help with this field?
Basically, the sorting will help in the way that I have generated a report on the basis of the department, and now I want to know in the descending order that how much tenure they have worked. Might be there is a person who has worked with us for 5 months. So starting up with a person with the 5 months of experience, I can go down the lane and see what is the maximum experience we are having in our company, what is the maximum length of service a person is spending with us, so that we can have a report and see this is the maximum tenure an employee can be with our company.
So what type of reports you are going to generate with this field? I can
Again, base reports will be again like seeing what is the tenure they have spent, and again that I already told that seeing the experience so that they can be shifted, or seeing the experience they can be given the loyalty bonus.
So you want this field to be accessible to what departments?
It not being will be visible to the departments. I would say it will be visible to the roles, and that again should be configurable. It depends upon the time. It should be visible to particular user, or it should be visible to all the users. So we can have a setting like that, or the permission like that, with which we can give it to particular roles, or we should give to but all the users in the application. So it should be configurable both the ways.
So you want this calculated on the basis of what?
Like how?
I would say it should be configurable with months and years, like 2 years and 5 months, so that we can have a particular correct data in that, and it should not say the person has completed 2 years and 5 months and it's just showing 2 years, because the work of 5 months will be lost as an employee with us.
Okay. So you want it automatically, you want it manually calculated or automatically? Because sometimes what happen, maybe data is calculated automatically, but there is some chances that data is not according to your expectation, and you want it to you want to change that data, so you want it editable also, like
I would say it should be updated automatically, but yes, we can keep it editable as well, so that if there is any discrepancy we are seeing, so we must be able to edit by ourselves also. But being updated automatically will be the good to have feature.
okay, so you want both automatically and editable.
Yes.
Okay, so I think we can good to go.
Okay.
Again,
वही पर वो कह रहा है कि विश के हिसाब से format
like we can have some discrepancy, like
मतलब अगर बग आ भी जाता है तो एटलीस्ट हम खुद से अपडेट कर सकते हैं फॉर दैट
formatting का
टाइम.
भी होता है year month print नहीं कराना चाहते
we can have that
format पे restrictions होने
format
चाहिए.
different way में handle हो सकता है
Yes.
we ये तो होने से कई बार क्या होता है कि 0.001% चांस है कि कुछ डिस्क्रिपेंसी आ सकती है.
That's a bug. But then that's a bug.
दैट इज अ बग.
माइनर कुछ डिस्क्रिपेंसी आ लाइक कुछ भी जैसे आई डोंट हैव पर्टिकुलर लाइक एवरीथिंग कैन हैव सम.
अगर कोई अगर आप की आपकी बात कर रहे हो वो ये हो सकता है कि यूजर की एक्सपेक्टेशन किसी और फॉर्मेट में डाटा हो सकती है राइट. तो क्योंकि कैलकुलेशन सिस्टम when you are making an automation system, then that means it should be giving correct values, right? Values will not be a problem, but maybe a format that a user is looking for could be one of the reasons.
Or maybe
But
that can
maybe
act
be
as
example is the leap year thing. अगर हमने तभी ये leap year वाला considerations नहीं लिया था, then in that case the accuracies can be the challenge for the
in that case
one
can
company.
तो कई बार क्या होता है कि कुछ सिस्टम में चेंजेस उस वक्त नहीं हुए होते. लाइक हमने कोई सिस्टम जैसे अभी आप लीप ईयर करते तो हमने अपने क्लाइंट को वो डिलीवरेबल दे
मतलब वो ये कि एट हैंड आप क्या सॉल्यूशन करते हो
yes work around. You know this is a bug, but you have given the
ऐसा
work
हो
around.
जाता है कि हमें एडिट करना ही पड़ जाता तो सो वी कैन हैव इट एज एडिटिंग.
Okay, so there are some learnings. So you got to learn something, I hope, out of it. But I also learned one thing, that we did it little properly. Based on these are the personas which we have been shared with. This could be utilized to create those personas, because if you see here, there are few information which is not applicable to all the HR globals, for example. When it says, or I can take an example of the blue collar workers. Let's say it was a blue collar worker which was said that a person must not be having access or might not be having access to system. So there can be two personas here. One who has access to system, one who has not. So those mights and all of that will create new personas for you. जहाँ पे clarity नहीं है but possibilities हैं. Yes. Right. So उस case में क्या होगा? Like you were into that discussion of I was observing all the discussions. So HR Global में जब हम filters की बात कर रहे थे, एक HR Global को कितना technical terminologies की knowledge, right? So अब वो आपसे filter पूछ रहे हैं, कोई ऐसा HR है जिसको पता ही नहीं filter क्या होता है, so how would that be responding, right? So in that case, what would you be asking? Filter क्या होता है, like that, no? So वो एक role play में then you will define it more. Now I can with this exercise I can know, okay, one persona would be a person who doesn't know technicalities of the right. But उस केस में अब उस persona के लिए टेक्निकल
इससे ज्यादा personas बनेंगे.
So discussion से ये चीजें तो पता लग जाती है कि like कि what we are thinking and what other people are thinking. तो हमारे पास एक set of ideas and data आ जाता है कि हाँ ये चीजें cases ये आ जाते हैं टेस्टिंग के लिए भी कि हाँ भी यार ये चीजें हम ऐड कर सकते हैं टेस्टिंग में.
I recommend you to write down those observations so that you can note down those test cases that you're finding out. Right? So not many people did it, but it can be utilized that way. Right? So उसमें ये होता है कि then you can use those test cases for further preparing those data. Right? अब यहाँ पर आपका जो उसमें उस शीट में हमने देखा था एक स्लाइड थी जिसमें it was talking about no data, invalid data, valid data, boundary values and all of that. It can help you with now these personas can help you. All this discussion can help you with coming up with those stuff. Right? So where do you see this fitting in?
मुझे तो अपनी टीम में लग रहे relevant.
That's very good, I think. For QC, it will make a lot of sense. And the QA as well.
So you having different departments in QC and QA?
QC is one level more of the quality assurance.
But basically QC and QA are into like QA is more into processes part.
Throughout the development.
Like how
the things are going to work.
How to improve the quality of software, how can we implement the processes into it? And QC is more into testing part.
Majorly it will be testing, but there are a lot of elements of innovation into it, like populating data using automation tool it was, right? So it can be a framework of populating data that can be one part of it. So there are areas that even QC can learn a lot. And now, like this ideation thing, if you take it to the next level, create those personas, can be helpful for the team to use those personas and generate, starting from the requirement till the last step.
हम ऐसा कर सकते हैं हमारे पास सारे जो जितने भी रिक्वायरमेंट्स होगी पर रिलीज पर टास्क पर्सोनास के बेस्ड पे हम सिस्टम
और जैसे वो हमने पर्सोनास देखे ना एक बंदा है बंदे का नाम है फीमेल हो सकती है मेल हो सकता है उस सिचुएशन में आगे क्या क्या इसमें वेरिएशन हो सकती है जैसे हमने बात की एक टेक्निकल पर्सन हो सकता है तो नॉन टेक्निकल पर्सन हो सकता है इंटरेस्ट बेस्ड पे सबसे प्रेरित होती है चीजें.
I think we can generate we know what roles in our applications are required and according to that we can categorize into these kinds of things. Generically कर सकते हैं and then we can decide what the features.
Actually that's how the companies work on it. जैसे product based companies होते हैं they have one set of personas. उसमें आप ऐड ऑन कर सकते हो जैसे जैसे आपका एक्सपीरियंस इंक्रीज होता है.
तो आई फील जो रोबोट खाने ये जो टेस्टिंग करते हैं पर्सोना बेस पे टेस्टिंग
जो हम कहते हैं ना स्पेशल सेट ऑफ आपका यूजर सेट होना चाहिए जिसके ऊपर आप वो करो सही टेस्टिंग जिसमें आप परफॉर्म आपको याद रहता है हाँ ये इसका मैनेजर है ये इसका एम्प्लॉय है लाइक दैट तो वो पर्सोनास
the role plays that we have started during our demos.
And that's why they provided us with that.
हाँ मतलब वो all those database would be influenced by this thinking that you have that special set of users that you can utilize for testing.
And I think for Mandeep's team and for the QS team also we can do that sessions which we were doing earlier from the customer perspective that the CV we have did. So we can do that kind of and the new Chinese will
that is going to happen in August. And yes, I told you. I'm going to follow up. Now it's about the feedback time. Broadcasting.